Hey everyone, I wanted to go over the new and exciting and interesting and more importantly informational news that we got regarding Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak's recent situation regarding modded quests appearing online and essentially ruining people's experience and potentially putting their save data in danger. So Capcom went ahead and expanded on some of these situations, the way for you to be able to detect how it is that you're going to be able to spot a modded afflicted investigation quest, which seems to be the only ones being affected right now. Now, we'll say right at the top of this video that as of right now, this seems to be mostly a PC-centric situation. It seems like for Nintendo Switch players, this may not necessarily be affecting any of us right now. With that said though, the knowledge of this information is going to be crucial if down the road this ends up happening on the Nintendo Switch. But as of right now, it doesn't necessarily seem to be the case for now. We'll just have to wait and see. So they took to social media in both Japanese and in English. I'm going to leave a link in the description below for both tweets if you want further details. But essentially, we're just going to focus on the English version. Their tweet reads as follows: Hunters, we have an update to share regarding our recent post on Sunbreak's modded quest. This includes how to identify modded quest, current risk understanding, and steps we're taking. Thank you for the continued support and fun and fair environment. So they attach essentially two specific images. The first one reads, a follow-up Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak regarding detection of unauthorized mods 1 of 2. This list of correct anomaly investigation values is for version 11.02. So it does suggest that this could actually change going into the future, as these investigation quests could get changed. They mentioned that please check any anomaly investigations you have to see if they fall within the values, and if you find any of these quests with the incorrect values, please remove them and do not try to play them. So we have two essential tabs. On the left side you have the correct values, and on the right side in red they're showing essentially what is the issue going on. They mentioned when it comes to fail conditions, most quests have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And they specifically talk about the 9 state failure conditions. These would be hunters within that specific quest can 9 specific times. They mentioned that the number of faints for 9 can only be for afflicted 1-star and 2-star monsters. So if you're fighting something like a Zenogre and it's like 9 failure states, then instantly you know that is a modded quest. That is what they're trying to say, but they're going to expand that on the second image. When they talk about max participants, they mentioned 2 or 4. That is the only numbers that you can see. The value is never 1 or 3. So you're never going to have a quest, an afflicted investigation quest, that says you can only solo it by yourself or with an odd number, which is a 3. So it cannot be a 1 or a 3. So that's a pretty easy tell. They also mentioned the number of targets can only be 1 or 4, but they don't specifically say that 2 or 3. There's no quest with 2 targets below level 20 and no quest with 3 targets below level 40. So what this says is if you're looking for 3 targeted quests, essentially they have to be like close to end game type related monsters, the Malzenos. This is where the apexes start to show up, 50 plus. You're not going to be finding any sort of like hunt 3 Tetranodons or stuff like that. That's just not necessarily going to be one of those quests. A monster list would have been helpful in this specific section for them to provide us with, but with the understanding that if we're fighting closer to end game monsters, you'll have a better understanding knowing that only 2 or 3 of those are going to show up, but not like a Kulu-Yaku and a Royal Ludroth. That doesn't necessarily make too much sense. When it comes to the time limits, they do mention that 25 minutes and 50 minutes quests are the ones that are mostly being targeted. 2 target quests are always more than 25 minutes. 3 target quests are always 50 minutes. So this is going to be a pretty easy tell. And the last one, when it comes to locales, they do specifically mention that Shrine Ruins, Frost Islands, Flooded Forests, Sandy Plains, Lava Caverns, Jungle, and Citadel are the only possible locales. So they specifically leave out any of the arenas where currently monsters can appear. Essentially, they're saying that if you have an anomaly investigation taking place in like where you fight Allmother Narwa or Forlorn Arena or any other like the actual arena itself, those are changed or modified anomaly investigations, and they're not actually accurate. At the bottom, they do mention, at the present, there is no correlation between modded quests and issues with save data. We're looking into a way of expanding and filtering the function to auto-detect modded quests. And I instantly saw people essentially suggest that they make these auto anomaly investigation modded quest a different color. So people can easily tell, like if the quest color name is blue, you can easily spot it and be like, I'm just gonna leave. It doesn't necessarily matter what the rewards you're gonna get here. You know, there's no real purpose to actually sticking around. And I do want to showcase at the back end of the video a couple of some of those better examples. But we do have another image that they provided us with as well. This is part 2 of 2. And they mentioned that below are a couple of examples of modded quests. And they give us 2 specific examples. Example number 1 is a level 51 Anomaly Investigation Rathalos, where you faint 5 times, max participants are 4, 3 targets, 30-minute limit. The 3 targets, but the time is not 50, so this is a modded data. So you cannot necessarily have just 10 minutes worth of a hunt for each one of the monsters. They already mentioned that every single hunt needs to be at the very least 50 minutes if you have 3 targets on the quest. So that's how you can easily spot that this is a modded investigation. The second example that they give is a level 95 Anomaly Investigation Diablos, where it says you faint 2 times, max participants 4, and there's 2 targets for 25-minute limit. And for this one, they specify that there are 2 targets, which means that the limit can never be 25. So this is a modded data. So these are the examples that they give us. But as of last week, when I made the video, last week when they provided the very early details regarding this, I notified some of you guys that there were investigation quests, for examples, for monsters that currently do not have a anomaly quest or afflicted status. For example, like Espinas doesn't necessarily have an afflicted status as of right now. There's no quest with an afflicted Espinas in the game right now, but there were a couple of examples that I saw that people sent me of like a double Espinas quest, where one Espinas is just normal and then is a double Espinas hunt, and then the second Espinas shows up afflicted. So that is an easy tell. Then you had another couple of examples where you had monsters that do not have afflicted investigation quests appearing in different places, like they mentioned in the locale section, where you had a Bushi appearing in the sandy plains, for example, and that's clearly not going to happen. A Bushi only appears in the arena, the Coral Palace that is, or in the actual rampage itself. So you're never going to see it out and about in the sandy, a map or whatever. Another example that I was also told is that people were seeing 3 hunt monsters, 3 hunted targets specifically for like one specific quest. So you had like mastery quests, and these were like some of the mods that were making their way, becoming very popular online. And I'm going to be showing some of those images on the screen right now. I believe these are on like Nexus mods. So you have like a Tetranodon small crown, then the second Tetranodon is like a normal Tetranodon, and then the third Tetranodon is like a big Tetranodon, like a big crown. So those quests eventually were making their way into the game, and people were just kind of picking up on it, and now we're getting copies of those specific quests. Now the issue here at the end of the day is that unless you're plugged into their social media, unless you're watching these YouTube type of videos, I presume other content creators are going to start talking about this, you're not necessarily fully aware of this actually being an issue. So at some point, I would presume Capcom goes in-game, they provide some sort of notification, and they start explaining the stuff to people who are actually playing the game in-game. You cannot necessarily rely on everyone just being able to be up to date with information being shared on social media, or information being shared on Twitter or YouTube, or content creators making videos about this. They have to take action inside the game, whether they're actually going to try to target specific mods or anything like that to remove them outright, whether they're going to change the color of a quest for you to be able to know specifically, hey, this quest is blue, this quest is red, this quest has a weird icon on it, something looks weird off about it, clearly this is a modded quest. Anything along those lines will go a long way to help, and also putting up notices in game. They're very good at promoting, their upcoming set of DLC, purchasable DLC and stuff like that. You have tabs appearing all over your screen when you're logging into the game. So this would be a pretty good way for them to actually make use of that information and provide users the details so they can actually know ahead of time, hey, there's some issues going on, and at the very least also clarify to players that this is a PC-centric issue as of right now. We don't necessarily have examples of this on the Nintendo Switch, but you never know. This can easily change because, you know, there are versions of the Nintendo Switch consoles that are modified. We know that. Obviously, piracy is a big issue for Nintendo right now. So, you know, this is also something that they could easily address as well in game. But that's about all the information I have for you guys today. If more details do come out, certainly I will be covering them in the near future. If you're brand new to my channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Hit the bell to receive notifications when the videos go up. And as always, thank you so much for watching. See ya.